This is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNN Live. And we're here at the LD Micro 10th annual main event in Bel Air, California. With me right now is Peter Holt from The Joint Corp. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is JYNT. Peter, welcome to SNN Live.
Hey, Robert, a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on. So, for our audience, let's start with an overview of the company.
Sure, the Joint Corp is a publicly traded company that's providing chiropractic services in a retail setting.
So, tell me a little bit of how does it work?
Sure, what happens is that in traditional chiropractic care, there's like 39,000 independent practitioners out there. They're usually using insurance. And you go in, you set up appointments, you go see your doctor. The appointment may last between 20 and 40 minutes depending on the various offerings that he gives you besides the fact of the adjustment. And what we're doing is streamlining that operation, and we're focused on specifically providing that subrogation is what it's called. And so you come in, there's no insurance, there's no appointment, it's in a retail setting, it's where you do your shopping, get a haircut, buy a frozen yogurt, and now get your chiropractic care. Our membership, typically you'll join as a member. Our membership is $69 a month, and with that $69 that you can come in for 4 adjustments. If you need additional adjustments, it'd be $10 an adjustment until you get to your next month.
So, what's the history of the company? When did you start and how did you develop to where you're currently at today?
Sure. We actually started in 1999. That it was started by a doctor of chiropractic in Tucson, Arizona, that had this crazy idea that he wanted to create an environment where there was no insurance in a retail setting and provide chiropractic service for general people. And it turned out to be an unimaginable success. I mean, it was absolutely so well loved because it never had that before. And what happens so often in that retail environment where you're providing a product or service is that somebody comes in and says, wow, not only do I love this product or this service, they ask the question, are you franchised? And he goes, why not franchise? And while he may have been a really wonderful doctor with a great idea, he wasn't a very good franchisor. So if you go from 1999 to 2010, that he got about 8 to 10 units up and operating. That's a lot of time for a handful of units. And in that process, a couple of brothers, looking at one of the units in Austin, Texas, fell in love with this concept and said, this is exactly what I'm looking to do. So they acquired the concept from the doctor. They hired a guy named John Leonicio, who was the founder of Massage Envy. He had just retired. He had sold his business to a private equity fund. And that they put him in place to truly develop our franchise model. So in 2010, maybe we had 8 units. By the time we went public in November of 2014, we had 242 franchise units operating. Now, in that process, these unit economics of this business model are so strong that the investors at the time said, you know what? Rather than just simply take the 7% royalty that I get in a franchise system, why not have 100% of that? So let's open up a portfolio of corporate clinics. So in November 2014, we went public. We did a secondary round in November of 2015, raised about $30 million, and in that process, built or bought 61 corporate clinics in roughly 18 months.
And where are the locations? Is it all U.S.?
Well, we're predominantly in California and the Southwest. We operate 389 clinics in 30 states.
And tell me a little bit about the competitive advantage. Why would someone want to become a member? And also, why would a chiropractor want to come and work at one of your clinics versus opening up their own shop?
Sure. There's kind of 2 parts to that question. Why do I want to use it as a patient or as a consumer? And the primary reason is that you have access to chiropractic care in a way that you never had before. 22% of our patients are new to chiropractic. Why? They didn't know where it was, they didn't know how to access it, it was too expensive. And so that we are bringing chiropractic care to a place that had traditionally never been before. If you look at our doctors, they're some of the finest doctors in the world, and because that they're doing such high volume of this chiropractic care in that retail setting. So that's primarily why you as a consumer, like, this is so accessible, it's so affordable, I can incorporate it into my daily routine, and so that's why you as a patient would want to continue to come into the joint. From the chiropractor's perspective, is that if you're coming new out of chiropractic, is that you not only have to be a good chiropractor, but you have to learn how to set up a business. You have to do your P&L, you have to do our marketing, you have to do all of these elements at a time when it's only becoming more and more difficult to run that business on an insurance-based model. Because what's happening here is as insurance companies take on a greater and greater role in the way that we are providing healthcare services to this country, is that in a way, it's becoming more difficult. I don't want to shock anybody, but insurance companies aren't necessarily the people who care most about your health. And if you look at what's been going on in chiropractic, is those insurance companies are lowering the reimbursement. They're requiring that doctor to have a PhD in insurance forms just to get the reimbursement, that they are slow paying that doctor. They're going in and auditing the notes of that doctor and say, you know what, you just gave Robert 2 adjustments based on these notes. I'm only going to give you 1. I'm going to reimburse you for 1. So you as the doctor can go to your patient and say, well, Robert, you didn't get reimbursed, so you owe me $150 or whatever his normal charge would be. Or he can eat it saying, you know what, I don't want to lose my patient, so I'll continue to provide the service even though I did not get reimbursed by insurance. So you have this huge force that's taking place. If you look at our business model, we're considered a direct pay model or concierge service. And I think when you look at the changes taking place in health, that more and more medical services are going to move to this model of direct pay or concierge, where you're taking insurance companies out of that relationship between the doctor and patient and focusing on health care for the patient.
And what's the market opportunity that you see that the company can address?
This is a huge market. If you want to measure pain as a market in the United States, we spend more than $650 billion in pain. Half of that is lost wages. The other half is what we spend to get out of pain. If you look at it a little more narrowly and just to look at it, back pain, that $90 billion is spent on trying to adjust or trying to manage back pain. And then out of that $90 billion, about $15 billion takes place in chiropractic.
And then what's your background? How did you get into all this?
Well, I got involved in this about 18 months ago as, basically stepped in as the CEO of the company. That why I was brought in is that I have 30 plus years business experience of managing and building franchises in that small box retail environment. And when I say small box retail, all I'm talking about is that 1,000 square feet, in line, anchored by a supermarket. It's where you shop, get a haircut, buy your frozen yogurt, and now do chiropractic care.
So, Peter, can I expect the same type of chiropractic care at one of the Joint Corp's outlets as I would at a mom and pop shop?
Absolutely, because what happens if you are delivering chiropractic care in this country, whether it's in a retail environment or in a traditional behind a clinic or a part of a hospital, they all must be licensed. The typical chiropractor goes through a 4-year program, that they're licensed by the state, that if you look at the Joint Corp, we have about 850 doctors of chiropractic that are under our umbrella, that we delivered 4.1 million adjustments last year. We have roughly 400 points of distribution across this country. We're the largest chiropractic system in the world, and we're just getting started.
And Peter, what are some of the growth drivers for the Joint Corp?
I think one of the biggest growth drivers is the opportunity to access chiropractic care at a time when pain is becoming more and more of an issue in this country. And that what happens is that you look at one of the challenges we face as a country is this horrifying opioid overdose epidemic. Roughly depending on what numbers you use, between 100 and 165 people die every day in this country for an opioid overdose. If you look at, we are the most obese nation in the world. 1/3 of this country is considered obese, which is you're more than 1/3 over your ideal body weight. 2/3 of us are overweight, and these are causing pain. And so they're looking for more natural, holistic ways to get out of pain. And that's really what's driving the business for us, is to be able to come into a market or come into a place where I can get out of pain in a natural, holistic way.
And where can our audience go and find more information about the company?
The best source for us is to go to our website, thejoint.com.
That's thejoint.com. My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNN Live, and we're here at the LD Micro 10th Annual Main Event in Bel Air, California. With me again is Peter Holt from the Joint Corp, publicly traded company. The symbol is JYNT. Peter, thank you so much for joining
Robert,
us
Thank
today.
you very much. Appreciate it.